Few years ago, I found myself laying in the pit of despair, wondering what have become of my prayer life, my faith, my joy, my peace, even the time that I spent in Bible study, even the time that I spent in meditation. I found myself drowning, suffocating, and couldn't breathe. The word that uttered in that moment was, God, where are you? Hi, my name is Joy, and I am on a mission. Did I say a mission? I am on a mission to do one and one thing, to help women who once were prayer warrior, who once knew their faith could move mountains, who knew that once they lived a life dedicated of prayer, meditation, and even more, their spiritual life were on fire. But something happened along the way that they found themselves that this faith was no longer there. If that's you who find yourself feeling stuck, stagnant, overwhelmed, or feeling even exhausted simply by waking up in your time of prayer because things have piled up in your life. I experienced postpartum depression that knocked me on the floor. And there on the floor, I sat down, I cried, and I wept. The one thing that I remember in those times where I felt like I've lost my spiritual life, the intimacy that I had with God once, the moment that I lived in glory and felt the presence of God. I remember one scripture that came to my mind, Luke 22, where Jesus was speaking to Peter directly. I don't know, the Bible doesn't say. Theologians speculate about what could possibly have happened to Peter during this season. But we know this one thing by reading Luke 22, starting with verse 30, that something had happened to Peter, that Jesus had to have this one on one conversation with him. Well, the Bible doesn't say one on one. I just imagine this intimate moment of conversation is not a conversation that is public. It is not a conversation that you want to be exposed. But Jesus had this conversation with Peter. And he said, Peter, Satan has asked to sift you, but I'm praying for your faith. In my moment of despair, in my moment of low, in my lowest moment, that was the only scripture that came to my mind. And in that moment, when I read it over and over again, I say, listen, Joy, Jesus, whatever Peter was going on, Jesus did not pray for that situation to go away or to be resolved. Rather, he prayed for his faith to be activated, for his faith to be strengthened, for his faith to come back again. Because maybe in that time, Peter stopped believing. Maybe Peter, in that moment, seems like everything was impossible. Let me ask you this. Is your situation or current circumstances make you feel that it is impossible to be resolved? Maybe, like me, you find yourself in a place where you wanted to give up faith because emotionally, chemically, hormonally, whatever, you found yourself, your marriage being shaken, your ministry being shaken, your job being shaken, and there you lie down on the ground, back on the floor, looking on the sky and can't breathe. And you wonder, how do I pray? Well, I want to invite you on this moment invitation. You can find the link in the chat where we are connecting. I told you my mission was to what? To activate the women's faith, the one that knows that, listen, I know what it feels like to pray. I know what it means to be standing in faith. I know the joy that comes in it, but something happened and I don't know how to get back to there. If that's you, I am inviting you to join a community of women where our mission is to simply to rise up. This 100% faith is because you know what it means to live 100% faith. Don't give up on it. Stay connected, stay in the community. This year, for me, God has been highlighting just about faith. And now He has sent me on a mission to reach out to women like you who once had that faith that moved mountain, but something happened along the side as a mother, as a wife, and as a leader. And you're wondering, what does this look like for me this time? Don't give up. Stay connected. Touch the link in the description and let's be connected. Because guess what? God is raising up an army of women of faith who are going to raise the next leaders or the next generation leaders of spiritual connection. All right. I look forward for you to being part and to hear your testimony. Take care and may God bless you.